welcome back to my channel. If you're new around here, my name is Taylor Ray, and today I want to talk about the price tag on my glamping trip at Ventana Big Sur. For those of you that are new to my channel, I celebrated my birthday this time last year with a little glamp. I did vlog it, so if you haven't seen that video yet, definitely check it out. Since Ventana is a 5-star hotel, I thought it would be fun to do a little review and talk about whether or not I think that price tag was worth it. So if you're interested in learning more about what I paid and whether or not I would go back, then keep on watching. So first I want to talk about the glamp site and what all is included in the nightly rate. First and foremost, there are real bathrooms and showers on site. Obviously not in our tent, but they were just a short walk away from where we were staying. You can also drive there. They have a few parking spaces out front. So if you're further up the hill or maybe further down it might be more convenient for you to drive. They came with everything your typical spa would have. Fresh towels, full bottles of soap. There were also hair dryers available, the floors were heated, and out of all the times that I had to use the bathroom or the shower, I only ever ran into one person one time. So even though they're not private, they felt pretty private on our stay, so that was nice. Back at the glamp site, not only do you have a parking space, you have a picnic table, you basically have this like little patio out front, like the front of like where your tent would open up, which has an electric fireplace, which is pretty cool, and chairs to lounge in. But then when you're like not standing on the patio, you also have the space surrounding the picnic table and a wood fire pit. And then the parking spot, like I said. Once you're standing on the patio, you'll see a cooler full of ice, which they refill every day if you want them to. There's a sink with running water, and it's shaped like a barrel, which is really cute. You have your 2 lounge chairs that I mentioned. There's a little side table in the middle of them, and of course the electric fireplace, which was a challenge to get started, but I did manage to start it by myself. Once inside, you're met with a big comfy queen size bed. It comes with electric blanket if you need it. We were there, like I said, this time last year. Even with 2 people's body heats, we were still freezing in the middle of the night, so we definitely used ours. 2 side tables, 2 lamps, like there's electricity in there for sure. Coat rack. My favorite part was the welcome basket. I don't remember everything that was included, but my favorite part was the s'mores kit. It also came with a little battery powered lantern, so if you needed to travel to the restroom in the middle of the night, you had a light. And then keep in mind, guys, like it's called glamping for a reason, so you have housekeeping that will make your bed and bring you back more s'mores items and like refill the ice chest. So now that I told you all about the accommodations, I want to talk to you about the amenities that the property itself has to offer. So it's a pretty big resort. We ended up having to drive everywhere, especially if you are glamping. That is at the bottom of the property, and I'm talking like miles down there. So yeah, each thing that I'm going to go over, they're not all within walking distance of each other. So if you are going to check it out, definitely be prepared to drive around the property. It's not that big of a deal, but I guess I went into it thinking maybe things were a little bit closer together, and that just wasn't the case. So the first amenity I want to talk about is the social house. This is also where you check in. It was my favorite by far out of all the amenities there, based on the main fact that it is a vibe. One night they hosted a wine and cheese night, so we enjoyed that and played a game of Scrabble. There's a fireplace in there, there's a pool table, other games that you can play, and like little tables spread out all over the place. It was very cute. Everything was complimentary. Delicious cheese. Back when I drink wine, the wine was great. And they'll let you know of things like the wine night that they're hosting, like it's no secret, and they'll do it from like a certain time frame, and then yeah, people were just in and out. It was really cute. So of course there's pools. They have like a main pool. It's stunning. They have a jacuzzi, which is like an infinity jacuzzi. They have a little sauna, which is really cute. We didn't end up using it, but we did see it. They also have these Japanese baths, which are not in the same area, and they're like pretty warm, like jacuzzi water, and we were there all alone. So yeah, we visited those as we were about to check out. Like that was like our last stop. We were there for a total of 2 nights, and I'll go over this in the end, but Yeah, 2 nights like flew by, I'm not gonna lie. Okay, now I wanna move on to the food options that the resort itself had to offer. So obviously I've already mentioned the s'mores and the wine and cheese, which were amazing, but aside from the snacks, we did 1 breakfast and 1 dinner there. Straight away, was pretty disappointed by the lack of vegan and vegetarian options. I am vegetarian personally, and what I did end up ordering I wasn't crazy about, so that is definitely something to factor in, and it's not cheap. I don't really remember specifics on what we paid for food, but I would say our dinner was at least $100 from what I can remember, and the breakfast, not so sure. I did go for my birthday, so the person I was with ended up paying for a lot of my meals, which was very, very nice because I paid for everything else because it was my birthday. So yeah, I'm not straight on what we ended up paying for food, but I'm almost positive dinner was at least $100. And like I said, for what I ordered, I wasn't super stoked, but it's one of those things where it's like there are not a lot of other options because of how small Big Sur is. So do keep that in mind. Minimal food options in general because it is a small area. With all that being said on the food though, I will say, though it lacked the plant-based options, the view at the Sur House, which is their main restaurant there, beautiful. Obviously we had dinner there and we were on the inside and like sun had already gone down at that point, but when we did breakfast on the day that we checked out, I believe, it was really cool. Like definitely a view worth seeing. We ate outside. It was still pretty warm out, definitely not hot by any means, but pretty perfect temps. As I said, wasn't thrilled about the food, but the view was really cool, and honestly, it was worth it, especially the breakfast. The dinner, I like kind of resent that dinner a little bit, if you can't tell, but that breakfast, the breakfast was a treat, so at least go for breakfast if you're gonna visit. Okay, so thoughts on pricing and whether or not it was worth it. And would I go back? Again, keep in mind this was last year. It was 2 nights. I spent $1,542.68 on my birthday getaway. Hi, your editor here. It's me. I don't know what happened, but the rest of this video has disappeared. I don't know what happened. That's a bummer. But I'm jumping on here to quickly answer the rest of my questions for this video. Don't mind me, I'm in bed because this is where I like to edit. TBH. I definitely prefer to edit from bed. So yeah, I'm gonna answer those questions now. There were 2 more questions that I wanted to answer. The first one, was the price tag worth it? And then hand in hand with that question, would I go back? Was it worth it? I think what was worth it was the experience. Cause like even the person I went with, like we're no longer together. We're still friendly, but it's like, I still can look back on that trip and say, this was a really cool experience because it's so different from anything I've ever done. And when I've researched glamping before, I have felt like nothing is as nice. Because I've looked up glamping in Yosemite, I've looked at glamping in Sequoia, and I have yet to find anything as nice as Ventana. So when I think about it in those terms, I do think that they know what they're doing. So yeah, it's hard for me to say like, yes, that night or those nights were worth like a total of $1,500. Instead, it's easier for me to say that the experience itself was very much worth it. So then the last question I wanted to answer was, would I go back? And specifically, would I go back for glamping? Because that's really the question I'm answering. You know, there's an aquarium that I really want to go to in Monterey. And I do feel like 2 nights was we ran out of time very quickly. I wished that we had had more downtime. Think about it, our first day, our check-in day, we got in at night. And so we only really had 1 full day and then half of the next day when we checked out again. So when I think about it like that, I think, okay, I would like to go back again and would go back again because I would like to experience 3 nights there when I actually have time to enjoy the glamp site versus feeling like I need to run around so much because of the timing. And we had every intention of checking it at a normal time, and it just like was not the case because of traffic. So I think it would have helped if we had been able to check in at like 3 or 4 whenever it is, but instead we got there at like 7 or 8 after it was already dark. So yeah, I think truthfully and honestly I can say yes, I would definitely go back. If I didn't live in California, I don't know if I would, but that's just speaking because I've already been there. Therefore, I don't know if I would necessarily feel like I had to go back if I didn't live in this state anymore. So I hope that answers any of your maybe questions. I do think it was worth the money, and I do think that I would go back. Those are my thoughts on my trip overall. Keep in mind too, guys, this was on my like travel bucket list, if you will, for 2 years of like really wanting to go to this place. I carefully considered the trip before I actually went on it. So yeah, I'm gonna finish editing this now. Thank you so much for watching. I'm sorry for the weird outro, but I appreciate you watching my video. Like I said, if you haven't seen the actual glamping vlog yet, definitely check it out. It's kind of like my whole birthday journey from last year, so there is like some stuff in the beginning that doesn't have to do with the glamp site, but feel free to skip ahead if you just want to see what those accommodations look like. And if you guys have any questions about Ventana or even Big Sur, feel free to comment them down below. And my DMs are always open on Instagram, so come say hello. Thanks again for watching, and I will see you in the next one.